Thanks for coming out tonight. Welcome. A couple things before I introduce our speaker that I just wanted to mention real quick. So next month we will have, instead of a missions night, we'll have our annual Chili caroling night. So we're looking forward to that. And then looking a few months down the road, just want to remind you our missions conference is on the calendar. So that's March 21st to 23rd. And we're filling out the schedule. Carl Dorchbach will be our keynote speaker. We are looking forward to that. The other thing I wanted to mention before the speaker is that so this week we had our monthly missions committee meeting, and we had Phil and Barb join us. So that was a special event. Phil and Barb are our missionaries that we support to Southeast Asia. They are in the U.S. for a short kind of 3-month span, and the timing didn't work for them to be here on a Sunday to speak to the whole congregation, but we were able to talk to them as a committee. And I'll give you a short update. They serve in a sensitive area, so I'm not going to give you too many details, but just say that the team is really thriving there in Asia. The Spirit is moving. The Lord is working. They're growing the ministry. So Phil and Barb are in a hub city. And then, there's several countries. They are the team leaders. There's several countries they're involved with, and they're actually in the process of developing 2 more hub cities. So they have team members who are going to kind of lead those areas to expand the reach of the gospel in some of those sensitive areas. So that's very exciting. Praise the Lord for that. One thing they mentioned, they have a program with that. They call it the Asian Crescent team, and they have an advocates program, they call it, where they're trying to get people from churches like ours here in the U.S., individuals who would join kind of a cohort where you do some training with them, partner with them, do a vision trip over there, and so if somebody from here is interested in something like that, talk to me and I can get you more information. On a personal side, for Phil and Barb, they have 3 children. 2 of their children have had children of their own within the last year or so, and Louisa is one of them. Louisa, we supported as a church a few years ago. Louisa is now expecting her 2nd child, and then their 3rd child is getting married next year as well. And so Phil and Barb are feeling that tug as grandparents now, and Barb is going to kind of officially designate more time to that role, but living on the other side of the world, as us grandparents maybe can appreciate, is a challenge that we can understand on a personal level. So keep praying for them and that team. The Lord is working there. So our speaker tonight is Stephanie Atha, who is the executive director of Choose Hope Crisis Pregnancy Center. For those who've been around for a while, Choose Hope used to be Birthright. All right, so we've supported what was then Birthright for many years as a church, and they have. I will echo what Nick said about if you have the opportunity to go down and visit their facility, I would encourage you to do that. I've been down there, and it's very heartwarming to see the way that we are loving those in need in our community, and really offering services for free to those in need. And they're really doing excellent work. So I think that's great. I would encourage you to check it out, perhaps even volunteer yourself if that's something that you would be able to do. But lots of things are happening with Choose Hope, so it's great. It's been, I think, maybe 2 years since Steph's been here, and so we're going to get the update on what's going on with the location, and as well as just some other thoughts on that. So I will turn it over. You have that one.
Is it on? It is on. Okay, cool. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Don't worry, I found myself in the baby section over there and I love it. So, don't worry if you got a baby making noise, that's just another joyful noise to the Lord, right? So it doesn't bother me in the slightest. And if you got to stand up and rock a baby or let your children wander and chase after them, it's all A-okay with me. I've been there, done that. So Yeah, just a quick, I think I know a lot of you, and I've talked to a lot of you in the past before, but real quick about me. I'm not a Harford County native. I moved here in high school from Pennsylvania and met my husband over in Frostburg State University. And so we decided to settle in Harford County because it's just a really cool place, great place to raise families. And so I have been involved, though, with Birthright Choose Hope for 24 years. So I got out of college. I started serving I got a teaching job at Bel Air Elementary. And I just wanted to do something more, wanted to volunteer, wanted to serve. And my mom was like, hey, I heard about this place. And so we went and toured it, and I've never left. That was 24 years ago. And since then, I've been a volunteer in just the evenings when I was teaching. Then I later on became the outreach coordinator. And then in the last 6 years, I've been the executive director. So it truly is a privilege to be able to talk to you here tonight. I appreciate the invite and just being able to share with you not only about the work that we do at Choose Hope, but also to reflect on how, in what can seem like a really dark time in our area, in our nation, in our world, just how we can shine Christ's light in the midst of darkness, and especially regarding the issue of abortion. Fact-checking has become kind of a buzzword in the last few months, maybe even a couple of years. It's not only in politics, but now everybody's like fact-checking everything in your everyday lives, right? So fact-checking, what is that, right? Simply means taking the time to separate truth from fiction, to sift through the noise and find out what's real. So while Choose Hope is actually decidedly not a political organization, we don't do any kind of protesting. We don't sign petitions in our office. We don't even talk politics in our office. Like, that's part of when you come on board, we're told this is not a place for politics. This is a place to serve and to be with people. I'm thankful for those organizations that do address the political side of this issue. I'm thankful for guys like Bob Brown that lead that cause in that way, because we need them too. But we kind of keep our eyes focused where we are and narrowly on those moms. So while we're not really a political organization, and this has been a very highly charged political season, there's been a lot of discussion about abortion, about pregnancy care, and about pregnancy centers. And so tonight, I'd like you to join me in some fact-checking about abortion and about pregnancy centers. And then we'll end with how you can use that information to continue to shine in this darkness. So let's start with an easy one. Is this a fact? Since the decision that overturned Roe versus Wade, abortions have decreased in our country and in our state. Is that a fact? You can think about it. New findings from the monthly abortion provision study show that an estimated 1,037,000 abortions occurred in the U.S. healthcare system in 2023. This marks an 11% increase since 2020, which was the last year that comprehensive estimates were available. In fact, since Dobbs' decision just 2 years ago, Planned Parenthood clinics across Maryland have seen a 40% increase in patients. Even more alarming, 13% of those are coming from out of state. The Guttmacher Institute estimates that over 38,000 abortions were performed in Maryland last year alone, with more than 4,000 of them from women who traveled from other states. That's 104 abortions every day in Maryland, or if you just look at a small, generous actually, 12-hour work day, that's 9 an hour. And because Maryland does not require mandatory reporting at all, those numbers are most assuredly low. The fact is that abortions have greatly increased in Maryland over the last 2 years and in the United States. So here's another one I get this one a lot. If women would just get on birth control, there would be no unplanned pregnancies. Let me tell you a story. Spanish-speaking Maria recently came to our center. She was concerned because she thought she might be newly pregnant. According to her information, we suspected that she was 6 weeks along. With the help of one of our bilingual client advocates and our nurses, Maria received a free ultrasound, which showed that she was not 6 weeks along, but 29 weeks along. Maria had been faithfully using contraception the entire time, free through the health department every month. The vast majority of women who come into our office in an unplanned pregnancy are already on some form of birth control. The fact is that no contraception, even when used correctly, is 100% effective. None of them. And that doesn't even begin to address the emotional, spiritual, and physical effects of casual sex. All right, here's another one. This one kind of hurts. You've probably heard this in this election season, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to address it. Pregnancy centers are fake clinics. They're pretending to be medical just to lure women to their facility. Is that a fact? Pregnancy medical clinics are held to the highest standards of care and licensure in order to offer medical services. We are overseen by a licensed medical professional, our medical director, who, in cooperation with our nurse manager, supervises our medical team. The process to become a certified medical clinic was very thorough, and it took our center 14 months to complete. We are HIPAA and OSHA compliant, and our staff maintains the proper certifications. The fact is that Choose Hope Women's Center is a fully operational and well-qualified medical clinic, and we are very proud of the hard work that we have done to get there. So don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. There are pregnancy centers that are not medical, and they offer self-administered pregnancy tests, material assistance, and emotional support, and their work is valuable as well. From 1973 until just last year, we were one of those centers. In fact, in the last 6 years, Choose Hope has had incredible growth. We've changed our name, added affiliations, and built a brand new medical clinic to better serve our clients, as well as doubled the size of our staff. Earlier this year, we began offering free ultrasounds, allowing women to see their baby and to hear their baby's heartbeat, a moment that often changes everything. And the results are clear. 17-year-old Carrie came into our office thinking that she was 8 weeks along, and she was looking for an ultrasound. When she met with her client advocate, she told her that all options were on the table, and she didn't know what she was going to do. During her ultrasound, it was determined that Carrie was actually 13 weeks along, and when Carrie saw the image of her growing baby on that big TV screen in our office, she said, "Oh my, that is so beautiful." Carrie left our office to meet with her counselor before she was going to talk to her parents to tell them that she was pregnant and that she wanted to keep the baby. Carrie actually just about 3 weeks ago had her baby, and I got pictures from Mom. In just the first 10 months of this past year, in 2024, we've served over 1,300 clients, conducted 123 ultrasounds, witnessed over 40 babies born, and had over 100 spiritual discussions with our clients. Each of these numbers represents a life, a story, and a moment when God's light has pierced the darkness. Next fact check. The states with the most abortions are Colorado, Minnesota, and California, right? Those crazy places, right? Is that a fact? The states with the highest abortion rates in the country are, in order, DC, New Jersey, New York, and Maryland. Maryland has the 4th highest abortion rate in the country. In fact, Maryland is a destination state for late-term abortions, since in Maryland, you can get an abortion all the way up till birth, and you do not need any parental consent. On the website of the closest abortion clinic to us, one of their questions, the first question actually, on their frequently asked questions is, "Can I use my mother's credit card?" Obviously, Mom's not coming if she's asking if she can use Mom's credit card. And now, since chemical abortion comprises 70% of all abortions, this website proudly advertises that you only need to give them a Maryland address to get the abortion pills overnighted to your door. While all of these statistics can sound very discouraging, there is light and hope within the ministry of Choose Hope Women's Center. If you care about making a difference for life and want to know how to shine your light, the fight is here. This is ground zero. This is where women are coming for abortions. Here in our region is where the majority of abortions are performed. Here is where we can have the greatest influence. The key is keeping our eyes focused on one simple truth. Women are the ones choosing abortion. It's not politicians. It's not abortion lobbyists, or even Planned Parenthood or the abortionist himself. The greatest impact we can have on reducing abortions in our state is by reaching abortion-minded women and empowering them with education and support to choose life in their most vulnerable moment. And that's exactly what we do at Choose Hope Women's Center. One last fact, I'm only one person. I can't make a difference in the overwhelmingly dark landscape of abortion in Maryland. In the midst of vast darkness, we have hope. We are reminded of the words in John 1:5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Or, in the scripture right behind me, you, not anyone else, you are the light of the world. Christ's light is more powerful than any darkness we face, including the darkness of abortion. We find hope in John 8:12 when Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but you will have the light of life. As Christians, we are called not to hide our light under a basket, but to let our light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. So how do we heed Christ's word and let our light shine in the darkness of abortion? As reproductive freedom is being celebrated in our culture and even recently enshrined in our Constitution, it's easy to feel that our light may be small or ineffective. The wonderful volunteers, first I want you to not underestimate your influence. Please do not underestimate your influence. The wonderful volunteers, supporters, staff, and board members that I get the pleasure to work with every day on the front lines in our center, while they are extraordinary, they are just like you. And as our organization is entirely funded by individuals, churches, and organizations like yours, we couldn't do this work without you. So thank you. I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't acknowledge that at times this work is hard, very hard. The opposition is fierce, and the path forward is not always clear. It's hard to counteract the loud and persistent messages that women in unplanned pregnancies are hearing all around them. Messages like, you can't have this baby and finish high school. You can't have a child and get a good job or go to college. You can't manage a promotion with a kid. You're already struggling with 2 children. You can't have a 3rd. Their message is clear. You can't. You can't. You can't. But I don't buy that. Women are strong. Women are resilient. Women and families can do hard things. And I believe in a God who tells me that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. In fact, we see it every day at Choose Hope. At Choose Hope, we empower women to do what they once thought was impossible. By partnering with Choose Hope, you guys are literally saving lives every day. Your support creates generational impact in this life and the next, and even for eternity. Thank you, Jesus. The facts speak for themselves. So I leave you with this question. How will you continue to let your light shine? Will you stand with us as we bring the light of Christ into the darkness of abortion, together we can make and are making a profound difference. One mom, one dad, one baby at a time. Thank you. Any questions?
There was a microphone here.
Oh, sorry.
Any questions for staff?
All right, I have two because Breeze had one as well. First, for those, some maybe remember Birthright's facility in Bel Air, in the town of Bel Air. So could you just like highlight where you are now?
Certainly.
And then Breeze was asking about can men volunteer
Yep.
as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So we are a 51-year-old organization, and 50 of those years have been in Bel Air. Recently, we learned that our place in Bel Air was going to be demolished and repurposed for apartment complex. Our landlord is Klein, was Klein there. And he's allowed to do that. That's, his right. He owns the land. So we started looking for somewhere else to go. And so 2 years ago, we opened up our temporary space in Edgewood, right next to the epicenter. We were actually in the epicenter while we were building next door. And we have a great partnership with them. They actually came to us and said, hey, you want to have an office in Edgewood? And we have been looking to have an office in that Edgewood area for a long time, being that about 50 to 60% of our clientele come from that area. And if you're trying to catch a bus from Edgewood or Joppatown or even Abingdon to Bel Air, it's like a 6-hour bus ride with our transportation in Hartford County. Not easy. So we made the hard decision after our landlord raised the rent $700 more a month on us starting in January. My board said, how long till you can get out of there? So we closed that office in May 1 and then consolidated everything to our Edgewood office that we've been in that brand new space for a year. It is a full medical clinic. Like I said, it's beautiful. I would love to show it to you. We could do a whole night of like, hey, who all from New Covenant wants to come and have a tour? We could make it a group event if you'd like. And so we're really blessed and fortunate to have that, but we're also kind of keeping our eyes open. Like when I say the future's unclear, I'm like, okay, God, where's our next spot? Is it a brick and mortar? Is it a mobile unit? What does God have in mind for us? So kind of keeping our eyes open in that. And then about the dads, we actually have a dad coaching program. So I have male volunteers that come alongside our dads. And in our Edgewood office, it's kind of neat. We're right behind a Dunkin' Donuts. So a lot of times they'll meet up the guys in Dunkin', they'll give them coffee and donut or coffee and a bagel. And it's a lot of just counseling. It's a lot of listening. But we know that if we can partner with dad and help him be a better dad, that's going to help mom and that's going to help baby. So we absolutely welcome male volunteers. And by the way, you don't have to be a dad to dad coach. When I started out counseling women in pregnancies, I was a single girl. Like, I wasn't even married, never had kids. God can use you if this is on your heart.
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
This lady is amazing. I've been on one of those tours. I've heard her spiel. It's so cool. I can't right now volunteer there, but there's amazing things going on there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. One thing that I didn't mention is something that we offer is post-abortion support. We actually have a monthly group that meets in our office. It's called Hope's Journey, and it is filled with women that have that experience in their past. There is no shame there. There is no judgment, just as when we work with our clients. It is only just grace and love. And there's information. Grab one of those rack cards in the back as well if you know someone that could use that kind of support. It's very informal. It's really just come and they do a little bit of a Bible study and they just talk and share and love on each other.
I'm aware that you're working with Spanish-speaking people. What are the percentages there, and do volunteers have to speak Spanish?
Yeah, it's super helpful. We don't have to have volunteers that speak Spanish. We have at least 3 bilingual client advocates right now. So it is super helpful if you do speak Spanish, but to volunteer, you don't have to speak Spanish. And we actually have certain days that we've kind of like narrowed, because those are when our bilingual client advocates are there. So there's about 2 days that we focus our Spanish-speaking clients on of our 5. We see at least 15 Spanish-speaking families a week. And most of those are material assistance, but not all. And so most recently we had a girl come in for an ultrasound, and one of our client advocates who's bilingual couldn't be there. So literally I went in with Google Translate on my phone, and she's scanning her and I'm doing Google Translate with her so that she can understand everything that's going on. That's not typical. Thankfully we have our bilingual client advocates. But no, you don't need to know Spanish. If you do, that's a real bonus. If you know another language, any language, I have used my minimal ASL on occasion in the center before too. So any extra language is a benefit.
One of the questions that I have is there any trouble coming down the pike with the new legislation for you guys and or just for our hospitals, especially our faith-based hospitals?
So far, no, but I have started to make friends with delegates because, this election would greatly affect us one way or the other. And I know I'm also really good friend. We have an advocate through that I work with called NIFLA, which is National Institute of Family Life Associates. And she's wonderful. She's a resource there for me. And they're basically lawyers. And they keep their tabs on what goes on throughout the country, because they also know that, so for example, in Massachusetts, the governor there used taxpayer funding and ran a whole ad campaign on billboards and videos and commercials talking about how to avoid these fake clinics. And so now NIFLA is partnering with those Massachusetts pregnancy centers to sue the governor and the attorney general of Massachusetts. So they see things that are happening, and they know that a lot of times states copycat. So she keeps me abreast of what I need to be aware of, which is helpful. And we do have some advocates for us in Maryland in Congress, people that keep their ears and eyes open for us, people that probably Bob is good friends with, better friends than I am. But it's helpful to know that if something else were to come down the pike, they could let us know.